people I just loved working with, where I was in awe. I always loved working with Tom Hanks.
Most producers chase names. Brian Grazer chases something else.
You make a movie or television show, you have to have an emotional destination for your audience.
He looks past the headlines, past the hype, past what everyone already knows. He searches for the spark, the one thing that can't be taught or bought, the thing that makes a performance real. For over 4 decades, Grazer has built empires on instinct. A Beautiful Mind, Apollo 13, 8 Mile, Friday Night Lights, films that don't just entertain, films that cut deep and stay there. But here's what separates him from the rest. He doesn't just produce movies, he architects human moments. He knows that a film lives or dies in the actor's eyes, in their silence, in the breath between lines. Grazer has worked with hundreds of performers, but only a few became more than collaborators. They became extensions of his vision. The ones who didn't just say the words, they made him believe them. This isn't about star power, it's about soul power. Grazer doesn't collect Oscars. He collects truth tellers, the actors who walk onto set and change the air, the ones who take risks when everyone else plays it safe. These 7 didn't just work for Grazer, they worked with him, and in doing so, they rewrote what it means to produce greatness. Here are the 7 actors Brian Grazer holds closest to his creative heart. 7. Joaquin Phoenix. Some actors audition for producers. Phoenix made Grazer come to him.
I loved it. Now, this other unit that you know, if the movie's broken down into 2 units.
Their first meeting wasn't about charm or small talk. It was about intensity. Raw, unfiltered, uncomfortable intensity. Grazer saw it immediately. This wasn't just another talented actor. This was someone who lived inside the character's skin. Someone who didn't perform emotions. He became them. And that kind of commitment, it either terrifies you or transforms you. They worked together on 8mm, early in Phoenix's career. Most people didn't know his name yet, but Grazer did. He watched Phoenix prepare. I watched him disappear into the darkness of the role. No shortcuts, no Hollywood polish, just pure, dangerous authenticity. Phoenix didn't care about being liked. He cared about being real. That's rare. In an industry built on image, Phoenix stripped everything away. He gave Grazer something most actors couldn't, the uncomfortable truth. Years later, Grazer would talk about Phoenix with a mix of admiration and respect. He called him every producer's nightmare and every artist's dream. Unpredictable, uncontrollable, unwilling to play the game. But when the camera rolled, magic happened. The kind you can't manufacture, the kind that reminds you why cinema matters. They only made 1 film together, but Phoenix left a mark Grazer never forgot. Some actors fill the screen. Phoenix cracks it open. 6. Ron Howard. Most people know Ron Howard as a director, but Grazer knew him first as an actor, and that changed everything.
Huge in building a trust and a relationship with one another. First of all, it was a successful.
They met when Howard was still Richie Cunningham from Happy Days.
Oh, hey, there's Fonzie. Well, I'll see you later. I'm going to the girls' room to check my face.
All right, see you.
Bye.
Young, hungry, but already thinking beyond the frame. Howard understood something most actors didn't. He knew what it felt like on both sides of the camera. And from that perspective, it became the foundation of everything they built together. When Howard transitioned from acting to directing, Grazer didn't just gain a collaborator. He gained a partner who spoke his language. Someone who remembered the vulnerability of performance, the fear, the trust required. Howard never forgot what it was like to stand under those lights and deliver. That empathy shaped how they produced films. It made them different. They didn't just hire actors, they protected them. They created spaces where truth could happen. Together they formed Imagine Entertainment. And every decision they made carried Howard's actor's heart. Grazer trusted him completely, because Howard had been there. I had lived it, had felt the weight of a bad note or the gift of creative freedom. Their partnership wasn't just business. It was built on shared understanding, on knowing that great performances don't come from pressure. They come from safety, from trust, Howard brought that wisdom, and Grazer never looked back. 5. Jennifer Connelly. When Grazer cast Jennifer Connelly in A Beautiful Mind, it wasn't the obvious choice. She wasn't a household name yet. She wasn't the safe pick. But Grazer isn't safe. He does right. And the moment he met Connelly, he knew she was exactly what the film needed. Not just beauty on screen, but depth, intelligence, the kind of presence that doesn't demand attention. It earns it. A Beautiful Mind was a complicated story, a genius mathematician losing his grip on reality. Russell Crowe brought chaos, but Connelly, she brought the anchor, the emotional gravity that kept the entire film from floating away. She played Alicia Nash with quiet strength. No melodrama, no tricks, just honest, devastating humanity. Grazer watched her work and saw something rare, an actress who could hold pain in her eyes without saying a word. The chemistry between Connelly and Crowe was electric, but it wasn't fireworks. It was something deeper, trust, tenderness, the kind of love that survives madness. Grazer knew he'd made the right call. When Connelly won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, it validated what he already understood. She didn't support the story. She completed it. She turned a film about mathematics into a film about love, about sacrifice, about standing beside someone when the world falls apart. That's what Connelly gave Grazer, not just a performance, a heartbeat. 4. Eminem. Brian Grazer bet on a rapper who had never acted a day in his life.
Coolest guy, and I won't say those names, but there were the guys that were very visible at being the best at those hot videos.
Everyone thought he was crazy, but Grazer saw something others missed.
Hey yo, this guy raps like his parents jerked him. He sounds like Eric Sermon, the generic version.
He didn't see a musician trying to act. He saw a storyteller who had been performing his pain for years, just not on camera. When they first met to discuss 8 Mile, Eminem was quiet, guarded, but Grazer could feel it. The raw authenticity, the refusal to fake anything. That's what he needed. 8 Mile wasn't just a movie, it was Eminem's life on screen, and that terrified him. He wasn't playing a character, he was exposing himself. Every fear, every failure, every moment he wanted to forget. Grazer gave him space. No Hollywood tricks, no acting coaches telling him to smile more. Just the truth. And Eminem delivered something nobody expected. A performance so real it hurt to watch. On set, Eminem barely spoke between takes. He stayed in his own head, lived in that world. Grazer respected that. He didn't push, didn't ask for more takes than necessary. He knew what he was getting was lightning in a bottle. You don't direct that, you just capture it. When the film came out, it silenced every doubter. Eminem proved he wasn't just a rapper turned actor, he was an artist. Period. One film, one story, one soul completely exposed. That's all it took. 3. Tom Hanks. Before Tom Hanks became America's favorite actor, he was Brian Grazer's gamble.
I see Tom Hanks like in the impact zone while I'm taking off on this wave, and I'm thinking I could get around him.
It was 1984. Hanks was a TV comedian.
Nice to meet you. I haven't done anything. And you saved 155 people.
Nobody saw him as a leading man. Nobody except Grazer. He cast Hanks in Splash, a romantic comedy about a man falling in love with a mermaid. It could have been a disaster. Instead, it became magic. Hanks brought something unexpected. Sweetness without being soft. Humor without being silly. He made you believe in mermaids. That film launched both their careers, and Grazer never forgot it. Years later, they reunited for Apollo 13. This time, Hanks wasn't the funny guy. He was Jim Lovell, an astronaut trapped in space. The role required precision, calm under pressure, the weight of leadership. Hanks delivered all of it. Grazer watched him transform. I watched him carry the entire film on his shoulders without breaking a sweat. That's when he knew. This wasn't just an actor. This was a force. They worked together again on the Da Vinci Code, decades into their relationship. And still, Hanks showed up with zero ego, full commitment, ready to serve the story. Grazer has said Hanks is the definition of reliability. You always know what you're getting. Excellence, preparation, humanity. He doesn't chase awards, he chases truth. And for Grazer, that's worth more than any trophy. 3 films, 3 different worlds, same steady heartbeat. 2. Denzel Washington. Brian Grazer doesn't look for actors who demand respect. He looks for actors who earn it by simply walking into the room.
Whatever happens in the process of that film, that story, has to be redeemed in the end.
That's Denzel Washington.
You know what you're doing? Come on, killer. There you go. There you go. There you go.
When they came together for American Gangster, Grazer knew he wasn't just casting a lead. He was casting power, authority, the kind of presence that doesn't need to raise its voice to be heard. Denzel had that, and he had something else, the ability to make a villain human. American Gangster told the story of Frank Lucas, a drug lord, a criminal, someone you shouldn't root for. But Denzel made you understand him. I do not agree with him, understand him. That's the difference. He brought complexity to every scene, intelligence, strategy, a quiet menace that was more terrifying than any explosion. Grazer watched him work and saw mastery. Every choice is deliberate. Every moment is calculated. Nothing wasted. What impressed Grazer most wasn't the intensity, it was the restraint. Denzel knew when to hold back, when to let silence do the work. He commanded the screen without dominating it. That's rare. Most actors push. Denzel pulled, and audiences leaned in. They only made 1 film together, but for Grazer it was enough. Sometimes you don't need a lifetime of collaboration. Sometimes you just need one perfect storm. One moment where everything aligns. Denzel gave him that. Pure, undeniable, unforgettable presence. 1. Russell Crowe. Some producers find leading men. Brian Grazer found a hurricane. Russell Crowe wasn't just an actor. He was a force of nature.
Gladiator, the Emperor has asked for you.
Unpredictable, intense, dangerous in the best possible way. When Grazer first cast him in A Beautiful Mind, people questioned it. Crowe was known for gladiators and warriors, for rage and muscle, not for playing a fragile mathematician losing his grip on reality. But Grazer saw past the surface. He saw range. He saw vulnerability hiding beneath all that power. A Beautiful Mind required something most action stars couldn't deliver: subtlety, breakdown, the slow unraveling of a brilliant mind. Crowe didn't just act the part, he lived it. He transformed completely. The intensity was still there, but now it was turned inward, controlled. Grazer watched him work and realized he'd found something special, an actor who could be explosive and delicate in the same breath. That's rare. That's magic. The film won Best Picture. Crowe was nominated for Best Actor, but what mattered most to Grazer wasn't the awards. It was the trust. Crowe gave him everything, held nothing back. They reunited for Cinderella Man, another underdog story, another transformation. This time a boxer fighting for his family. Again, Crowe delivered. Grit, heart, desperation wrapped in dignity. 2 films, 2 completely different men. But the same soul is bleeding through the screen. That's why Crowe sits at number 1. He didn't just work for Grazer, he bled for him. And that kind of commitment you don't forget, ever. Brian Grazer doesn't collect stars. He recognizes souls. These 7 actors gave him more than performances. They gave him the truth, risk, the kind of honesty that makes cinema matter. He didn't just produce their films, he protected their vision, and in return, they made his stories immortal. Who surprised you most on this list? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for reading. Subscribe for more producer insights.